They say money can't buy happiness. But when you are 19, hungry, and angry at the world, money looks a lot like freedom. My name is Rose. At least, that's the name I bought for myself when I buried my real one. I didn't start this life because I was forced by a gang. I didn't start because I was kidnapped. I started because I made a calculation, a math error that would cost me my soul. I looked at the women working factory jobs, their hands rough, their backs bent, earning pennies. And then I looked at the women in the red district. They wore silk. They smelled like jasmine and expensive tobacco. They walked with their heads high, or so it seemed from a distance. I told myself, I have beauty. Why should I give it away for free to a husband who will grow tired of me? Why not sell it to the highest bidder and retire rich? It was the arrogance of youth. I thought I was smarter than the system. I thought I could dip my toe in the river without getting swept away by the current. The first night I walked into that house, the one with the velvet curtains and the heavy oak door, I felt powerful. I wasn't a victim. I was a businesswoman. Or so I told the girl in the mirror. The madame looked at me. She didn't smile. She just checked my teeth like I was a horse at an auction. "You are fresh," she said. "Freshness is expensive, but it rots quickly." I didn't listen. I saw the cash in her hand. It was more money than my father made in a year. I took it. That was the first mistake. I thought I was taking their money. I didn't realize they were taking my future as a down payment. The first month was a blur of perfume and adrenaline. I convinced myself it was just a job, like being a waitress, only you served a different kind of hunger. But the human mind isn't built for it. To survive, you have to split yourself in two. There is the body that stays in the room, and there is the mind that floats up to the ceiling. I learned to stare at the cracks in the plaster. I memorized the patterns of the wallpaper. I counted the seconds on the clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. The money piled up in a shoebox under my bed. But a strange thing happens when you trade intimacy for cash. The cash loses its value. You can buy the expensive dress, but you have nowhere to wear it. You can buy the finest steak, but you have no appetite. I started to feel hollow. And then the lines started to blur. At first, I was choosy. I had standards. But the house has rules. And the debt, the imaginary debt for the room, the clothes, the protection, it somehow never went down. I stopped being Rose the person. I became Rose the product. And that's when I started counting. I remember the day I started the tally. It was a Tuesday. It was raining. I had lost track of time. Was it day? Was it night? The curtains were always drawn. I wondered, how much of me has been consumed? So, I took a hairpin, and on the hidden part of the wall behind the headboard, I made a scratch. One line, one person. It became an obsession. A dark ritual. Every time the door closed and I was alone for those few precious minutes to clean up, I would go to the wall, scrape. 1 line, 2 lines, 10 lines. I wanted to see the number. I wanted to quantify my existence. One day, I looked at the wall after a particularly long shift. I counted the fresh scratches. 68. 68 human beings. 68 strangers who breathed on me, took from me, and left. I sat on the edge of the bed and tried to remember a single face. Just one. I couldn't. They were a faceless gray mass, a tide of flesh. But the holidays were the worst. Festivals, national holidays, when the men were off work and full of liquor and loneliness. The bell at the door wouldn't stop ringing. It was a conveyor belt. I remember one Eid, or holiday. My hand was cramping from the hairpin. 150. I looked at the scratches. They looked like prison bars. And I realized then, I wasn't the businesswoman. I was the prisoner. And I had built the cell myself. You think the worst part is the quantity, the hundreds of nameless faces. But you are wrong. The worst part is when one of them decides he wants to know your name. His name was Arthur. He wasn't like the others. He didn't come for an hour. He booked the whole night. He was wealthy, old, and smelled of expensive scotch and decay. He didn't want to rush. He wanted to talk. He wanted to own my thoughts, not just my body. He brought me gifts, silk scarves, pearl earrings, things a father gives a daughter, or a master gives a pet. The madame loved him. He is your ticket, Rose, she whispered. Keep him happy, and you'll sleep in silk sheets forever. But Arthur didn't want a lover. He wanted a mirror. He wanted to look at me, young, vibrant, alive, and steal that vitality for himself. He started demanding things, not physical things. He demanded I quit smoking because he didn't like the smell. He demanded I wear my hair a certain way. One night, he saw the scratches on the wall behind the bed. I froze. I thought he would hit me. Instead, he laughed. A dry, rattling sound. Keeping score, my dear? He asked. Am I just another scratch? He took a knife from his fruit plate and carved a deep, horizontal line over my delicate scratches. I am the line that crosses them all out, he said. You belong to me now. That night, I realized I wasn't just selling my time. I was being erased. Arthur wasn't paying for company. He was paying to consume my identity, piece by piece. 2 years in, the shoebox was full. By my calculations, I had enough to buy a small house by the coast, maybe open a flower shop. A life where no one touched me unless I wanted them to. I packed my bag in the middle of the day. The house was quiet. I walked down the stairs, my heart pounding in my throat, ready to tell the madam I was done. She was sitting in her office, counting coins. She didn't look surprised to see my suitcase. She just smiled, that reptile smile. Going somewhere, Rose? I'm leaving, I said. I've served my time. She laughed. She opened a heavy black ledger. Let's look at the accounts, shall we? She started reading. Room and board, $2,000 a month. Security fees, medical checks, the bribe money for the police so you don't go to jail, the clothes you wear, the food you eat, the fines for the days you were sick. I listened in horror. The numbers didn't make sense. She was charging me for the air I breathed. According to this, she said, tapping the page, you owe the house another $15,000. If you leave now, well, the police might get an anonymous tip about a girl stealing from her employer. Or maybe Arthur will be very upset that his favorite toy ran away. The shoebox in my hands suddenly felt weightless. It wasn't money. It was just paper. I wasn't an employee. I was an indentured servant. I walked back upstairs. I unpacked my bag. And that night, I didn't use a hairpin. I used a nail. I carved the scratch so deep, my fingers bled. I stayed. What else could I do? The tally grew. The wall became a mural of misery. But the breaking point wasn't the debt. It was the girl. Her name was Lily. She was 19, exactly the age I was when I walked in. She had the same fire in her eyes, the same arrogant belief that she could handle it. I saw the madam look at her with those hungry eyes. Freshness, she had called it. I watched Lily for a week. I saw the light in her eyes start to dim. I saw the first time she flinched when a door slammed. One evening, I found Lily in the bathroom, scrubbing her skin with a rough brush, trying to wash away the scent of a stranger. She was crying silently. It was like looking into a time machine. If I stayed, I would die here. I would become the madam. I would eventually be the one counting the coins while another girl ruined her life. I couldn't save myself. It was too late for me. But maybe, just maybe, I could burn the ledger. I didn't leave quietly this time. I waited for the night of the governor's ball. The house was full. The music was loud. The madam was distracted, entertaining the high rollers. I went to the office. The safe was locked, but I didn't want the money. I wanted the leverage. I found the black ledger on the desk, the book that held all our debts, all our names, and the names of every powerful man who visited. I didn't steal it. I lit a match. I watched the paper curl and blacken, the names of senators, judges, and my own debt turning into ash. Then I went to my room. I looked at the wall one last time, hundreds of scratches, a graveyard of moments. I took the bottle of rubbing alcohol I used to clean my wounds. I splashed it on the wall. I dropped the second match. The wallpaper caught instantly. The fire didn't cleanse the room. It ate it. I grabbed Lily's hand. "Don't pack," I told her. "Run." We ran out the back door as the smoke alarm started to scream. We ran until our lungs burned, until the red lights of the district were just a blur behind us. I didn't have my shoebox. I didn't have my clothes. I had nothing but the clothes on my back and the smell of smoke in my hair. We didn't stop running until we reached the state line. We checked into a motel that smelled of mildew and regret. The kind of place where nobody asks for ID and nobody asks why two women smell like a bonfire. For 3 days, we didn't sleep. Every siren that passed by, I froze. I thought, this is it. The madame has sent the police. Or worse, she sent her collectors. I spent hours in the shower. I scrubbed my skin until it was raw, trying to wash away the soot, the smell of the house, the invisible fingerprints of 1,000 men. But the smell, it was stuck in my nose. It was stuck in my memory. Lily was different. She was terrified, yes, but she was hopeful. She watched the cartoons on the blurry TV and ate vending machine sandwiches like they were a feast. She thought we were free, but I knew better. I looked at the news. A tragic fire in the district. No suspects. The building was fully insured. The madame would get paid. She would rebuild. She would find new girls. The machine didn't stop. We had just fallen off the conveyor belt. On the 4th day, I realized something painful. As long as Lily was with me, she would never be safe. And more importantly, she would never forget. I was a living reminder of what happened to her. Every time she looked at me, she saw the house. She saw the ledger. She saw the trauma. I was the scar. She needed to be the healing skin. I took the last of the money I had hidden in my shoe. I bought a bus ticket to a town 3 states away, where she had a distant cousin. You go, I told her. You don't look back. You change your name, you finish school, and you never, ever talk about me. She cried. She begged me to come. She said we were sisters. I can't, I lied. I have things to do here. I didn't have things to do. I just knew that my darkness was contagious. I watched her bus pull away. I stood there in the exhaust fumes until the taillights disappeared. That was the hardest moment. Harder than the first night in the house. Harder than the 68th mark on the wall. Because that was the moment I chose to be alone forever. The years that followed were a performance. I became an actress playing the role of a normal woman. I got a job at a diner. I learned to smile when customers asked for coffee. I learned to talk about the weather. But inside, I was a ghost. I tried to date once. A nice man, a mechanic named David. He had gentle hands. He took me to dinner. He tried to hold my hand across the table. And I pulled away. I couldn't help it. In my mind, I started calculating. How much is this dinner? What does he expect in return? Is this a transaction? I couldn't turn off the calculator in my head. I couldn't see affection. I only saw debt. I broke it off the next day. I told him I wasn't ready. The truth was, I wasn't human anymore. I was a product that had been taken off the shelf, but I still had the price tag stapled to my soul. So I stopped trying. I built a wall, not with scratches this time, but with silence. I became the quiet lady who lived in apartment 4B, the one who paid her rent on time and never had visitors. And here we are, the end of the line. I received a letter yesterday. It was from Lily. She sent a photo of her granddaughter's graduation. She looks happy. She looks whole. She wrote, "I haven't forgotten. Thank you for the fire." I sat in my kitchen and wept. Not tears of sadness, but tears of relief. Because I realized that my tally, those hundreds of scratches, those stolen years, they paid for something after all. They paid for her freedom. I am old now. My hands shake. The beauty that I thought was my currency is long bankrupt. But I am free. I own my morning coffee. I own the silence in my apartment. I own my name. If you are listening to this, if you think you can sell pieces of yourself and buy them back later, please listen to the woman with the scars. Some stains don't wash out. But if you are lucky, if you are strong, you can learn to live with the mark. My name is Rose. I am not a product. I am not a victim. I am the survivor who held the match. And that is the only number that matters.